Welcome back to Pat and Go with Paul Browning. I'm your host, Paul Browning. We've got DJ on the ones and twos. We've got our guest, Will Hazelwood, owner of Game Over. We've got our fantasy insider, Brandon Gray. We're going to go under the hood. So,
He's
obviously,
in 15 leagues.
with 15
we
leagues.
just kind of brushed over that.
He's our fantasy insider. He's got to be in all these different leagues.
I can't do more than 2.
We need that. We need that. So obviously when it comes
That's
to
a full-time job.
right, 100%. So when it comes to running a couple different fantasy football teams, I mean, you guys have a couple different leagues that you're in. What does that take for you guys? How you make that work?
For me, so I'm only in 4 leagues.
Yeah.
A little different.
Still a lot.
That is still a lot. I spend a lot of time behind my phone researching.
Who's on the waiver wire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
I'm constantly on the waiver wire. I'm talking 4 times a week. I'm at it.
Yeah.
It opens up on Wednesday.
Yes,
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yes. But just to manage 14, I want to know how.
Yeah.
I mean, so Mike's a little bit. You talk about being on your phone a lot. I'm constantly researching things. You said 4 times a week. I'm on that thing like 30 times a week. Like
You got to go two, 3 times a day.
Like
That's
I'm at work
crazy.
Checking fantasy.
Yeah.
Any news that's popping up, like
Yeah.
I got notifications on my phone. It's not too bad, really. I mean, you kind of get in a rhythm after so many leagues. It's like you know who you got in which leagues. You're just making sure your lineup's straight at the beginning of the week. It's really about the ones that I have trouble with is the IDP leagues. Like I'm in 4 of those. And
Explain what that is.
so the
just in
IDP
case.
is the individual defensive positions.
Yeah.
So, you have a full defense as well, but you have individual defensive
Now I gotta
positions
pick a
like DNs,
linebacker and-
D-tackles.
yeah.
And that's the trickiest because I've been having to research what their matchups with the linemen. Last week you had Aaron Donald versus Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
And that was huge. So I'm not starting Aaron Donald just because I know
Quentin
I'm from
Nelson
Indiana.
is-
So, and
You
that's
know,
Quentin
yeah.
Nelson,
Yeah.
that's an all-pro left guard right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I don't know. That's where I find the difficulty is you get these new linemen, especially these rookie linemen. This week you have the rookie left tackle from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Soul.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's going up against the rookie edge rusher from the Ravens.
Yeah.
So it's like, who do I go with right there? It's tough to pick on those rookies.
Couple toss-ups.
And you got and he had the key fumble last week against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So even with that being said, I mean, when we talk about keeping track of how many guys you have on, who you have on your team, you've got to spare me, guys, spare me. I haven't played fantasy in the past 2 years, so I've been away, been backed off. But
I took this year off, so I'm
okay. So cool. So I was gonna say, spare me, please. But when it comes to keeping track, do you guys usually try to draft? You got teams where I've got some of the same guys, or I'm aiming for the same type of player. How we go about that?
That's kind of tricky. So I try to keep it the same just because you end up with those matchups where in one fantasy league you got this guy, but your opponent has a guy
That's in your other league. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to deal with that last week. I have Mike Evans in one league. My opponent had Mike Evans, and then I have Chris Godwin in another league. So who do I want to go off? It's
Right.
kind of like.
But Will, on your take, when it comes to managing your team, how do you play that with the different rosters?
He has no
different players?
personal life. That's what it really is.
Okay,
That's all that.
so I kind of just throw that out the window.
You want to try to find that. You want to try to find that balance between teams, especially when you're running different leagues.
Yeah.
One, it's just hard to keep up with everybody. I mean, you really do have to spend hours and hours if you want to be good at fantasy football.
Yeah.
So for me, I try to run teams that are through and through going to be the same players on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's impossible because your draft positions, things like that, how many players are in your leagues.
Right.
But you want to keep some consistency. And then for me, like I said, I run deep in the waiver wire.
Yeah.
So I know if a guy like Pollard, who's only, who's available.
Tony Pollard with Dallas
50%
Cowboys
of the
running back.
leagues,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I know I can go snag him up, and I'm going to do that across all my leagues.
Definitely. So that's one of the huge takeaways that I'm getting from both of you guys. Consistency. You want to have a good fantasy football team or be in different leagues as well. Make sure there's consistency within there so you kind of know what you're working with. You know who you're playing with.
Yeah.
Okay. I can understand that. So I think it's time that we kind of jump into some things. Week 3 is right here around the corner. Who should be starting? Who should be sitting? What do we got?
I got a big sit-em this week.
Uh-huh.
I got Travis Kelce as a sit-em.
What? Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs.
You never sit Travis Kelce, let's be honest. But this week, you're going against the Chargers.
You're going against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Has allowed 3 catches for 8 yards since 2018 on Travis Kelce. And the Chargers, in its own, have only allowed him 92 yards total in those 3 years.
The power of statistics.
Yes.
That's what that is. Go ahead. No, I like
that's my key sit-up. And that's the thing. Travis Kelce, it's like those guys that you never keep on the bench. But Derwin James is a beast.
Yeah.
He's locking him down this week. I even got the Chargers over the Chiefs this week. So
wow. Okay, I think we can we may connect on that one here in a second. Yeah. Any huge sit-ems that you have right now, or any guys where you're just like, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a guy in my roster I thought he probably could ball out for me this week, but now based on matchups, maybe you need to pull a guy out.
Yeah, he's not so much a big one, but I will go with Darrell Henderson Jr. LA Rams running back.
Yeah.
He's been having a great season.
Yeah.
He did get banged up last week, though, and he's going against a Tampa Bay's front seven.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So I honestly, that's my sit. He is in my starting lineup, but he won't be this week.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
what I would watch personally is Lamar Jackson. He's been ill all week. Maybe you want to take a second look at that.
That Lamar Jackson may be one that you want to watch out for. Well, I think when you look at this week, there's a lot of potential matchups that may go in certain people's favors. Who are the startums? Who are you starting?
I got, for my running back, I got
Yeah, go ahead. If we can go ahead. Our fantasy guys, I know how you guys are with your phones. You got to be on it. I totally get it. Who are you starting? He's got 13 different leagues.
Yeah, I got
13, 15 different leagues.
All right, so I'll start with mine. Again, I'm going to kind of go off the cuff because I know obviously you want to start people like Derrick Henry, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You want to start your stars.
Right.
For me, though, someone that you can grab off of the waiver wire this morning, most likely because he's only rostered in 56% of the leagues, like I said, is going to be Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard.
He's electrifying. He's a great change of pace for the Cowboys. I know Zeke, of course, takes away a lot of his touches.
Yeah.
But they're finding a way to get him involved.
Yeah.
He's going to be good. I mean, he has been. He's proven that he's good for, 15 points a game in fantasy. Yeah. Which is big for a flex. So if you need a spot, I would say Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard, definitely. Monday night against the Eagles.
I'm going to go running back as well, but I'm going to go with the Ravens running back against the Lions, Tyson Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen what Aaron Jones did.
Mm-hmm.
I see the same. I see the same thing. I think the Baltimore Ravens line is a little bit better than the Packers.
Yeah.
So I
may be able to.
Huge game. So,
yeah.
And that's kind of a low-key player that, is still available out there. So.
Right. No. Okay. Definitely. And then just total sleepers. I know we were talking about, Tony Pollard. I get that. But is there any other sleepers that we may not be thinking about where, hey, this may be a guy you want to get on your roster, maybe not just for this week, but this is a guy who's potentially balling out. You may want to have a permanent spot for this guy.
With Christian McCaffrey going out, you got to go Chuba Hubbard. You see what he did in Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Dude's a beast, and he played well last night. He did have that drop in the end zone.
Yeah.
Would have been his first touchdown. Would have been nice. But he's a key guy to keep an eye on depending on how long Christian McCaffrey's out.
Right. I like that.
So mine, it's going to be a little bit surprising. I'm going to go with Sterling Shepard of the New York Giants.
A
lot of people.
A giant.
Yes, a giant. A lot of people sleep on Sterling. He's been having a great year.
Yeah.
He's gotten at least 9 catches a game.
Yeah.
And you always need a wide receiver.
Yeah,
at least I always do.
Yeah,
you always need a wide receiver.
I don't draft well there.
He's only drafted in 70% of the league, so it's probably someone you can still sneak up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been having a monster season. He's got 9 catches for 120 plus yards, and then another one for 10 catches for another 120 plus yards.
Yeah. Daniel Jones really.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah, he's looking.
They're becoming a connection.
Warren's doing. He's having an aneurysm right now. We're talking about Danny Dimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then just a player I would stash away as far as picks you can probably get up. You talked about him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most explosive rookies out there, Rondale Moore out of Arizona.
Okay, yeah.
You got Kyler Murray, arguably one of the best quarterbacks right now in the league, throwing to him.
So let me slow down there, because you're getting into something that I want to talk about. I mean, because we've got some pretty good game. I mean, Kyler Murray is like, looks like he's my MVP pick. I know you've already picked Arizona to go to the Super Bowl, but I hear you. I know that there's some potential for some really good games this weekend. Do you guys have any games that you're looking for this weekend that you're ready to watch? You're like, oh, is it going to be the Packers Niners? Is that what I'm looking at you guys standing here?
I'll let him say that. But I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay versus the Rams.
Yeah.
And honestly, my sleeper MVP is Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford, yeah.
Cooper Kupp, all those guys over there.
Yeah.
In LA. I think they beat the Tampa Bay this week.
You got a couple picks that he's giving us a couple picks right off the bat. I like it. Let's actually save that, because we're going to jump into 50-50 as soon as we come back from this break. But that's going to finish up this segment. We are Pat Go, and just take a quick break with us, and we'll be right back.